Hello and welcome back. I wish it was under circumstances, but it's another episode of the Cheater's Corner, and we're going back to look at the Connor Pattison 10K cheat against my good friend Sean Gallagher, Toolshed himself, the legend. Well, let's just jump right into it. So we had some very sus behavior that we were looking at in my first video, but shout out to Lava Ox on Twitter did a whole write up because they were able to catch something that, even though I was staring at the footage, I was not able to see. So I'm just going to plow through this. It was a really good write up. If you want to read the whole thing, you can find Lava Ox on Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it, and you can find the link right there. But we're just going to fly through this Google Doc, and at the end, you're going to see some very damning evidence of Connor just having cards blatantly in his lap. So this is basically explaining why and how all this was done. Basically, I'm going to super high level it for you. The first couple images and GIFs are to show his demeanor, the way that he's playing open to coverage, allowing all of his cards to be seen, flicking them, smiling, generally relaxed, enjoying the game, having a good time, deciding, you know, there's probably an unsummon, interactions occurring, good and bad. Now, as we start to get to top 8, things just slowly start to change, and this is where I'm going to start reading the Google Doc because there's some very interesting things that they pick up on. When coverage starts, it's Connor's turn. He attacks and passes back to Sean. Before Sean passes back on a quick turn, we can clearly see that he only has a single card in his hand, but it is not revealed to the camera just yet. It then goes to Connor's turn, and he draws what appears to be a Battlefield Forge and adds it to his hand with his unknown card. Excuse me. I can't say for sure the drawn card is a Battlefield Forge, but it looks very much so like the version he's played in prior matches. If we go back, this is the art of the Battlefield Forge. And when they draw, it's very close, but this right there looks like a Battlefield Forge. Try to zoom in, slow it down. Same thing. We're going to look at the slant of the card as it goes into the hand, and that looks like a Battlefield Forge. We get another shot at Connor as he thinks and another peek at the likely Battlefield Forge. He even plays considering it alongside the other lands, puts it there, hesitates, and ultimately pulls it back. Now, we're going to be checking in to make sure that my volume is all good. Audio check. Mic check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Good. Now, ultimately pulls it back. He eventually passes, and we get another glimpse at the hand. At this point, we figure his 2-card hand to be Battlefield Forge and Boros Charm. During Sean's turn, Connor engages in some extremely sus behavior, leaning back, dropping his hand below the table, and then near his armpit. Like, watch this craziness. Like, putting his cards all over the place. Now, nervous fidgeting. Look, the cards were under his arm. After Sean passes, Connor clearly draws a slick shot show off the top and adds it to his hand with a clearly visible Boros Charm. And what? An unknown card? I thought he had that Battlefield Forge. Let's get another slowed down look at the shot. Definitely a slick shot off the top, and a Boros Charm, as well as a Urbrask's Forge. It doesn't look to like it. So that's a Boros Charm. That's a slick shot. And we get the quickest flash of what looks to be not a Battlefield Forge, which would have red and white art. Instead, it's a Urbrask's Forge, which is a mono red artifact right there. An even clearer flash of the Urbrask's Forge. And now this is a shot where he tilts his hand again, very obviously to show the Urbrask's Forge. Over the span of the coverage, we saw Connor start the turn with 1 card, draw 2 cards for a total of 3. We knew he had the slick shot and that he likely drew a Battlefield Forge on the prior turn. We know he cast a Boros Charm to end the game, and it can be seen that he had a Urbrask's Forge at the end of the game, which is a total of 4 different cards that we saw. Where did this Battlefield Forge go? Well, it's probably disappeared between turns and after drawing the land, getting swapped out for another card in his body. Let's watch that clip again. Since the first card in his hand at the start of coverage can't be confirmed, there could be 2 possibilities. It was an Urbrask's Forge, and he drew the Battlefield Forge and swapped the land for a Boros Charm, or he started with the Boros Charm, swapped the drawn land for an Urbrask's Forge. Either way, something was likely swapped for another card he had hidden. This would line up with other reports that Connor seemingly had instances of cards that he shouldn't have access to, like the second plane seen in this very match, a Restless Bovak, or a third Boros charm according to other players. Maybe he had a stash of cards hidden and would retrieve one when needed. Edit. Due to some sharp-eyed commenters, the exact point where the card disappears had been identified. Here's a clip of Connor being sus, played at half speed, starting with the point where he pulls the card back from his body, and we can see him glance at his cards, fiddle with them a bit, and then he pulls his cards closer to his body while one hand seemingly slides under a table, while two cards remain in his hand upon the table. Now here's a shot of the cards sliding under the table at half speed. You can see a brief flash of turquoise right here in the middle of the camera. Watch my cursor. Blue, right there. We're going to do it one more time. Watch this cursor. The left hand flashes blue, and the two on the table stay. As pointed out by another observer, in this shot, at the beginning of coverage, when Connor is untapped for the turn, you can see the corner of a sleeved card already in the lap when he briefly moves his arms to untap his lands. He literally has cards in his lap. Like, this is the most brazen, disgusting cheat that I think I've ever seen. I've seen people stack like I've seen camera footage of people stacking their deck. I've seen camera footage of people stacking their opponent's deck, and all cheating is gross. But this is literally you're sitting in top 8 next to Libby, the legend, next to the judge, the person running commentary, the you're at the highest pedestal of the entire game. You're supposed to be, how many people have dropped out of this event and now are just watching, just hoping to see more Magic because they love playing and they want to be able to one day be at this stage. And to see this corner of this card at the bottom of the screen, right where my cursor is, boom, right there. To see a card just on someone's lap, and this guy, look at his face, no reaction, acting like everything's cool, like this is just another day in the office, like he's done this 100,000 times. Meanwhile, some of us grind for 2-2s, right? Like I like to say that when I go 2-2, that's another day in the office because I win some and I lose some. 50% of the time you're going to win, 50% of the time you're going to lose. And that can be changed with experience and deck building and sideboarding, but at the end of the day, Magic will usually average out to being a 50-50 game. And to try to take edges and to straight up cheat to win games when you don't deserve to, it's the scummiest thing that you can ever possibly do. This is a game about love. This is a game about respect. We're all supposed to be like in the same. We're all in this. I hate to quote High School Musical, but we're all in this together. These are things that we all have to endure through together, right? Like we're all in this together as Magic players. And just to see like the judge program get canceled, no penalties, like he was disqualified, but like there's nothing really that you can do to prevent somebody like this from doing this. And look, they made it to the top 8. What happened if they weren't on camera? Like we would have never seen this in their lap. Like this is insane. We need to bring back the judges program. We need to bring back actual bannings. Like people like this should never be allowed to play the game again. I would ask if this guy's last name is secretly Spec. Like this is like insane. I think that at the end of the day, you have to respect your opponent. You have to respect the game. And if you don't respect your opponent, you don't respect the game, you don't deserve to play, right? Magic has no place for people who are just hateful. We have no place for people who are just angry, right? You need to allow that you can be frustrated. That's totally fine. But to show up to the game angry and to have your struggles be taken out on your opponent, that's not fair. It's also not fair for your opponent just to think that they deserve to win and to cheat at any cost to try to get that win. It's disgusting. And what's even more disgusting is if we go to the end of this video, he who shall not be named actually extends the hand to Sean and says, "Good game," to the ultimate salt, the ultimate disrespect. Playing the game. He's the another issue that I have with this is he's playing a good deck. He's playing Boros Mice. You will get free wins with that deck. You will lose some games, but guess what? You're already in top 8. Like, what's the point of cheating? Why not just play the game? But that goes back to the old mantra: cheaters are going to cheat. There's no reason. There's no rationale. We logical people can't look at this and understand why somebody would do all of this just to get to top 8. it completely destroys all of your previous achievements because you definitely cheated to get those too. Like, it's just so disgusting. Um, that's all I have to say about it is, you know, to slide cards under the table, to keep cards under the table is, as a card player, like the most disrespectful and disgraceful thing that you can possibly do. I would just have one word for this child, and that is to get good. As we say, get good, scrub. I'll leave it at that. Thank you all so much for watching. And Sean, I'm so sorry you had to go through this. You deserve better than this. You're a good grinder. You're a good guy. And I hope you all have a beautiful day.